There's a situation going on right now where two creators are basically accusing each other of being terrible people.
Didn't you cheat on your ex-girlfriend? No! I got cheated on with the and y'all still support them.
And the truth of the matter is, depending on who you ask, they both might low-key be right. One of them is OnlyJayus or Bella, who used to be one of the biggest creators on TikTok. The other is Mattie, who makes content about
I like girls.
Not the exact kind of bloodsucker that I want in my life, but sometimes we have to compromise.
Do you understand?
I just ate lunch with middle schoolers. And before anybody calls the cops, just let me explain.
This situation is wild because OnlyJayus had a reputation of being controversial. So when this started up, people immediately assumed like, all right, okay, what drama is Bella stirring up now? But the more that has come out, I have failed to find a simple villain and hero arc. What we're looking at here is two completely different versions of reality. One is backed by receipts. If you find this video at all tolerable, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe because the algorithm is this fragile little creature that we must OnlyJayus was born in Las Vegas in 1999. And their backstory is not exactly easy. They were one of 11 kids and actually entered foster care at 16 after coming out. I mean, 2 years later though, they're basically guaranteed to be on your FYP whether you liked it or not. OnlyJayus grew really fast. I feel like a lot of celebrities are waiting their whole life for 5 seconds of fame. Meanwhile, OnlyJayus was got 5 million in under a year. But that still does not make all of their actions understandable or okay. Some drama started around OnlyJayus when some screenshots started circulating from back in 2016. More specifically, an argument where Bella was using a racial slur during an argument. To be crystal clear, mouthing this word to a TikTok song, trending audio, Doja Cat, it is not okay. But this situation was different because this insult was aimed directly at a person for dating a black person.
She didn't just say the N-word. It's not like she was mouthing it and said the words in a song. There are levels to it. There's the white influencer dancing and then mouthing the words with an A at the end. There's calling someone the N-word. There's calling someone the N-word with a hard R at the end. And then there's calling someone a nigger. A slur is a slur, but to insult someone for being in a relationship with a black person by calling them a nigger, it does not get any worse than that.
At first, Bella was like, those screenshots are edited, which, I mean, that's certainly a bold strategy. Unfortunately, that defense did last 5 minutes as more context started coming out. Even in 2025, she was still explaining herself.
Cannot believe in the year of 2025 I still have to go over this, but it's fine. I'm here to educate. The book, How to Be Anti-Racist, that I read and got publicly flamed for. How dare you read this book? You think you need a book to teach you to not be racist? The book is not 300 pages of just endlessly, hey, racism, don't be racist. That's bad. It's How to Be Anti-Racist. Written by Ibram X. Kendi, and he just talks about more of the history that isn't taught in schools. I know you might think that you know everything, but you don't because they don't teach you everything.
Take that for how you will. I don't know. I feel like, though, an apology in the making for 4 years could have been a little bit stronger. A clear apology really does sometimes go a lot further than venting and trying to teach your audience a life lesson. Nah, we gotta do this proper like Bella used to do in her psych fact videos.
Psychology tricks to with people's minds that I may or may not use.
It feels like the focus was on how it impacted them, what they learned, how difficult it was, and how frustrated they are that people haven't moved on, rather than, the people who were actually hurt in the first place. Maybe I should leave this to OnlyJayus. It's dirty anyway.
She talked a lot about learning and doing better, but that's kind of vague. You don't really hear what exactly has changed. I mean, this first happened in 2021, and she was like, all right, you guys, I'm gonna amplify voices of POC and learn from them. But then she ended up ghosting some people and blaming it on ADHD?
Today's episode of What Are People Mad at Me For Now? Not checking my emails in a timely manner. I wish I was joking. Forgot to respond to an email from this creator that wanted to collab with me, and instead of just like hitting me up again, they made 7 videos about it! Can you please leave me the alone? I have a diagnosed neurological disorder that makes me forget things and procrastinate due to time blindness. And y'all can keep crying for my attention.
Another POC creator said the same thing. He said he spent over 2 months organizing Zoom calls, getting resources, planning ways to collaborate to highlight Black creators. And then the communication just stopped, which, let's maybe not do ADHD dirty like that. If you have ADHD, there are ways to set it up so that things don't slip through the cracks. I'm just spitballing here. What if we set alarms, put it on our calendar as many times as it takes? We have technology now. I feel like a lot of people with ADHD would like to be held to the same standard. It's like if you were at a job interview between a person with ADHD and a person without it, would you want them to say, listen, sorry, man, you're probably gonna have some time blindness, I'm not gonna hire you? It kind of reminds me of this TikTok from someone who ruined Gen Z. They were like, the person who interviewed me at my job interview was just so ableist. I told them that I have time blindness, so sometimes I'll be late to work. And he didn't give me the job. And people were in the comments were like, okay, boo, but that's the thing. I have time blindness, and do you see on my phone there's 12 alarms set?
And I just think about how people with ADHD have interest-based nervous systems, meaning that if you're interested in something, if you know that something is going to make you happy to do, I just think it's an interesting perspective, considering the people that they flaked on said they had multiple chances to meet up and collaborate. Also, whenever I forget about something because of my ADHD, I feel really bad and I don't get angry about it.
It does not stop there with Bella. There were also repeated accusations that they were taking ideas from other creators without crediting them, among other things.
If a service dog ever approaches you but they're alone, that means that their owner's in trouble and they probably can't move, so you should follow him, because you'll get a free wallet.
So at this point, it's starting to feel like a boy who cried wolf situation. It's like, oh, okay, more drama. That was until light was brought into her 2-year relationship with Mattie Westbrouck. I think that's how you pronounce it, because this is how my read aloud wants to pronounce it. Westbrouck. Things went downhill very quickly, but actually this time it wasn't against Bella. It was against Mattie. At first, it was cheating allegations, which is that sucks, but also not unheard of online. But then more serious allegations came out, including that of Mattie allegedly talking to, I don't know how to say this, for YouTube not to get mad. Let's call them M's.
Didn't you cheat on your ex-girlfriend? No! I got cheated on! With the and y'all still support them.
My first thought was this is not the kind of claim you're gonna want to make publicly as a massive creator. Unless you are very confident that you could back it up. So let's backtrack to when they dated, their relations together. Mattie and Bella started dating in 2020. Their relationship was very public. They were together for about 2 years until November of 2022. About a month after the breakup, Mattie confessed that it was because of infidelity. A lot of people automatically assumed it was Bella who cheated because, given her reputation online, you could probably see why people jumped to that conclusion. I'm sorry to Bella. But Bella was like, that's not how it happened. Bella spoke publicly and alleged that Mattie had cheated. Not only that, but multiple friends knew and didn't say anything.
Today is the 4-month anniversary of this roller coaster I've been on of being broken up with and not being told why. In that time, I eventually did learn the truth. I got cheated on. Way too many friends knew about this and chose to leave me in the dark over it.
So these cheating allegations were already public, which on its own is like, it's a pretty rough start. But in a more recent video addressing past controversies, Bella alleged that this infidelity involved so this immediately crossed a line from like, oh no, this sucks, man, to like, no, this isn't drama. After addressing it, Bella claimed to have been reached out to by multiple girls with their own stories, some of whom were allegedly they were M's at the time. And she was like, so am I gonna wanna go to the police with this or like make a bunch of TikToks and YouTube videos? Which I'd feel we should talk later, you know, about how Bella handled this. Because I'd say the crime in question is a lot more problematic than however Bella decided to share it online. After that, Bella uploaded a TikTok addressing the one comment Mattie had made about it so far. This is a kind of a rock and a hard place situation because if Bella's accusations are true, I kind of get the frustration of watching everyone online praise Mattie. Meanwhile, you're just there like, hey, so you guys are like clapping for the wrong person here. But oh my God, Mattie responding to Bella saying, if you react badly, I might. That is manipulative, even if you're genuinely in emotional distress.
It's actually something called emotional coercion.
Mattie did finally respond, and the video starts out with them very much indicating that, like, Bella's just doing this for clout, y'all. Which, like, though, if the accusations are false, that sounds to me more like attempted career assassination, right? Than clout chasing.
So I want to start this off by saying that I never wanted to give any attention to the blatant lies that are being told about me right now. But I really cannot stay quiet any longer about the serious accusations that are being made against me. Thank you so much to absolutely everybody who waited for my response before coming to any conclusions about these accusations.
Is it just me, or is this response doing everything except, like, addressing the main concern? No, like, being in a toxic relationship is awful, but I don't think that's what people were wanting clarification on.
So while I was at an extremely low point in my life in November of 2022, I kissed somebody else. But it was not the person from this screenshot, it was not Amara, and it was absolutely not anyone. I did eventually end up telling Bella what happened, when it happened, and who it was with. However, the lies that this person is currently spreading about me and my character are absolutely disgusting. They said that in this screenshot, I was 21 having a relationship with somebody who was 17. Me and the person in this screenshot have never had a physically intimate relationship before or after she turned 18. In fact, since nothing happened between us, I thought we were on good terms, considering she reached out to me in 2023 just to check in and see how I was doing. I have reached out to her to let her know that it did sting that she would instigate complete lies about me on the internet, but she never responded. Bella also claimed that in this screenshot, I was 21, providing alcohol to people. I was not 21 in this screenshot, I was 20.
Oh, I mean, they were 20. Like, okay, like, we can all go home now, right? What? What? When an M is involved, I don't think it matters if you're 20 or 21.
This is me at 20. This is me at 21. I also have no idea why Bella is lying that I met Amara when she was 15 years old. This never happened. I also never cheated on Bella with Amara, especially not when she was 16.
Okay, no, I'm just done here. This wording is so odd. I didn't cheat on them with Amara, but listen, if I did, it wasn't when they were 16.
The person trying to spread lies about me right now is not a trustworthy or credible person. This is somebody who has lied in the past and will continue to lie. And I know that from witnessing very personal experiences with them. To anyone who has been in a situation with an abusive ex-partner, you can understand how hard it is to speak up when you feel like your physical safety is in danger.
Honestly, this whole situation was kind of whiplash, because after Mattie posted that video, a lot of people were on their side. But then Bella came back with a whole on YouTube video and people were just like, Oh, it was 43 minutes long and very committed to documentation. It's not hard to imagine someone staying quiet if they feel like they're about to be up against a huge fan base. That doesn't prove anything either way, but the reality is that going up against a large, heavily loved creator comes with risks. Even if you have proof, them being just like, listen, that didn't happen, heavily influences public perception. Also, a lot of people probably don't want their identity to be tied to people being like, you're a liar, your evidence is AI. Bella goes on to say that ultimately, they wanted different things in life and they just were not compatible. At this point, we got both of them saying that, okay, the relationship was toxic. It was the other person's fault, however. And to be fair, this is very textbook toxic breakup energy. Eventually, both people decide that the other was the villain. And a lot of the time, it's not even that like someone is lying. It's just that two people brought out the absolute worst in each other. Anyway, this is where the plot introduces Amara. Amara has been living with Mattie and posting couples content together since 2024. Here's the thing with the timeline. Specifically when the relationship started. Bella originally claimed that Amara was and that Mattie was like 21 or 22 at the time, which is a very serious allegation. But Amara has publicly denied that. She said multiple times that she did not date Mattie at 16 and their relationship began when she was 18. That 1 year actually matters a lot because and 22 is very different legally and socially than 18 and 22. Even with that, people have still questioned the age gap, specifically when they first met. Because if you meet someone and you're like, all right, I mean, listen, let's just wait a few months, you know, your 18th birthday is coming up, that's not exactly comforting. To me, it's like 18 and 22 has a pretty big maturity difference, but also it's legal, so eh. But with everything that's come out, I do understand why people are calling this sus. Why does this kind of remind me of that one actress? I don't know, like someone who started an OF when, like on her 18th birthday. And to the people who were subscribed, people were like, okay, but why were you waiting? Even if it doesn't cross a legal line, Bella was like, no, this is deeply uncomfortable. And this, listen, is just the beginning because the accusations get even more serious as the video progresses. And this is when a lot of the opinions around Mattie began to shift. Because at this point, a lot of people were on Mattie's side until now.
And December is when
As for ages, the alleged situation between Mattie and Noor goes back to 2021. It's Noor, Michelle. It's Noor. Noor would have been, I'm getting creative here, at the time. And Mattie would have been 20. So, the age of consent in the state of California is 18 for intimate contact. There is no broad close in age or Romeo and Juliet exemption in the state of California, meaning even teens who are close in age can be subject to prosecution. I don't know, if my friend did something that was absolutely terrible, I don't know if my first reaction would be like, man, I'm so sorry you got caught. I'm so sorry that happened to you, man. I like to think it would be more like, oh, like, so that wasn't a good decision. Now, I'm a little confused about what the strategy was there. Saying that it wasn't physical while the screenshots are floating around, it's certainly bold again. Now, if you look at those photos with zero context, do those look like just coworkers to you? Now, you guys are gonna call me old-fashioned on this one, but I really just don't tend to kiss my friends. Then Bella pulled up text that she claimed was from and an allegedly 20-year-old Mattie. So no, we will circle back onto how allegedly incredibly inappropriate they were being with Ems in his household, getting them drunk, being physically intimate with them, all alleged for entertainment purposes. Now hold on just a minute there. They were told this person is 16. And when asked, Mattie was just like, don't worry about it. I'm sorry, am I crazy here that like, I feel like this is the point that most people would exit the chat. So you've got someone here who is saying that they are insert age, talking to someone who is 20, and they don't even realize that they're speaking to an adult. One person knowing exactly what's going on, the other person is completely unaware. This is easily one of the most serious screenshots shown so far because this is the first time that age was clearly stated. Sorry, you guys, I get a bit British when I'm upset. Now, obviously, screenshots can be manipulated. But if it's genuine, nah, absolutely not. I'm stepping out. They wouldn't have been able to consent anyway. But also now we added the layer of, well, you don't get to anyway because you don't know.
Context of this one, they reached out saying, I have proof that Mattie...
Like, there's no concrete proof of flirting here. And if Louis Tomlinson had messaged me when I was their age, I probably would have misread like basic kindness as destiny. But also my boy Louis would not be in the DMs of someone that age. The big question is whether Mattie actually knew the age, because at this point we don't know. So this one, you guys, we're not gonna fully lock in. Here we have got into, well, we have no faces, names, and sometimes even profile pictures. So at this point, we're basically evaluating like censored screenshots. That does not mean I don't want it to seem like I'm dismissing anyone or that I don't believe anyone. But I just don't know how that would hold up in a court of law or the court of law of YouTube commentary. At a certain point though, you do start forming an impression. I do think that Bella's video feels a little bit scattered. It jumps from things that are like, oh no, this is serious, to things that are like, well, listen, Mattie was out here liking a 18-year-old's TikTok video. Not on the same level. But I also get it because it's like, if you're trying to prove a point here, it's just honestly fair to dump out the whole folder. I cannot believe we are reminiscing about middle school right now. I need a moment. Even if it's not flirty, like, why are we talking to 18-year-olds at all? No, seriously, like, as an adult, what's your reason? Like, maybe if it's like a family, other than that, why? First of all, also, how did we get to exchanging numbers here?
FaceTime to play Among Us.
It starts off all teasing, like we're just like flirting a little bit during this like video call. Instead of that being the immediate ending of the interaction, it just kind of turns into jokes like, listen, I'm gonna give you daddy issues, which maybe, actually. So anyways, Bella posts this and Mattie wastes absolutely no time responding. So the vibe was mixed. Some people were supportive, but others were very much like, no, like we got that part where like there was cheating and toxic and, but like, can we talk about like the main issue here? Why are we going after Bella right now? Let's pull up the clip.
So Bella, OnlyJayus, has gotten on the internet within the past couple weeks and made extremely severe accusations against me. So in this video, I'm going to be taking accountability while also shutting down the completely heinous lies that they have tried to spread about me.
So it's the same kind of format here. However, I'm noticing a shift in the wind of a vibe change. The first one felt confident, like, okay, I didn't do it. The second one feels like stressed.
Initially, Bella started posting TikTok videos filled with lies, so I made a response and I still stand by every word I said. Bella then posted a 45-minute long YouTube video in response to what I had to say. And most of what I said in my first video did cover a lot of what Bella had to say in their YouTube video. So let's break this down. In 2021, I was in a toxic relationship with somebody that I did not know how to communicate with. So while I was at an extremely low point in my life in November of 2022, I kissed somebody else.
Raise your hand if you've been in a chaotic relationship where you're both toxic at 20. Anyone else, please? Welcome to the club, guy in the back. Maybe I'm reaching here, but it was interesting how Mattie immediately opened the video taking accountability for something and also just straight going after Bella. It kind of feels like a setup, like we're all on the same team here, right? Like, okay, I get if we're not huge fans of Bella, but just because we don't like who said it, it doesn't mean the problem just evaporates. And I'll be honest about the cheating part. That's not why people are here. Wasn't this like covered back in the day? Cheating is bad, okay? But also, can we look over there? What's that? At the alleged crime? Everyone is waiting for this big explanation that clears their favorite TikToker. And the big explanation is, it's just hard for me, but I kissed someone.
I want to preface this part by saying that Bella has acknowledged me cheating in the past around 3 years ago. So yes, while Bella and I were in a relationship, I kissed someone else. That was wrong, and there are absolutely zero excuses for it. And in their initial video, when they told the internet that I cheated on them, never once did they mention Noor, never once did they mention Amara, and never once did they mention...
Today is the 4-month anniversary of this shitty fucking roller coaster I've been on of being broken up with and not being told why. In that time, I eventually did learn the truth. I got cheated on.
So I think Maddie's big angle here is, okay, Bella, but you mentioned 3 years ago the cheating and you didn't bring up M's then.
Somebody that in a very fucked up way I still love.
That video is from 3 years ago. Bella just now got on the internet 2 weeks after me and Amara posted our breakup announcement and only then started mentioning...
Didn't you cheat on your ex-girlfriend? No!
This is not something that Bella has been talking about for a long time. These are lies that they added on to their initial story. So now let's talk about Noor. They said that in this screenshot, I was 21 having a relationship with somebody who was... Me and the person in this screenshot have never had a physically intimate relationship before or after she turned 18. In fact, since nothing happened between us, I thought we were on good terms, considering she reached out to me in 2023 just to check in and see how I was doing. I have reached out to her to let her know that it did sting that she would instigate complete lies about me on the internet, but she never responded. The video that I'm about to show, as well as a couple clips that Bella did use for their YouTube video, have been on the internet for 5 years.
The commentary around this video was very much like, oh no, Mattie, that's cool. It's just that OnlyJayus had the receipts. I really think Mattie was trying to shut down these rumors at the time making this video, and it didn't work. If anything, it kind of made some people more suspicious. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that Mattie should have brought receipts, or do you think that like there wouldn't have been receipts if nothing happened? And I honestly keep going back and forth between like I'm team Bella, team Edward, and then I'm just like, well, no, actually, like Mattie has a point with this. It's really tricky, and I feel like maybe this shouldn't have been brought online in the first place. Or maybe it should have, because people deserve to know the alleged truths about creators.
Noor and I met when I first moved to LA in 2021, and so on June 16th, 2021, I posted this video of me and Noor. Looking back, it is wildly irresponsible and incredibly stupid of me to be making these videos with somebody when they were and I was 20. And in regards to my initial video, I will always stand on the fact that absolutely nothing romantically intimate or physically intimate happened with Noor, even though making those videos was an extremely poor judgment. I also do want to take the time to clarify here that in my initial video, when I said that I was 20, not 21, I was not saying that to try and justify my behavior in any way. I was not 21 in this screenshot, I was 20. This is me at 20, this is me at 21. I said that because Bella has been lying and saying that I was buying alcohol for people who were...
So as you can see, I'm not seeing a lot of evidence. I think Mattie's angle here was just to explain and hope that clears everything up. Like, let's entertain that Mattie was completely innocent in this. Like, what could they actually do to prove that they're right? But this also isn't a good look because Bella's video is very much screenshot after screenshot, where Mattie's explanation was very much like, listen, I wasn't all up on that girl. Meanwhile, there are videos of them being all up on that girl. To be fair, screenshots can be faked, and some of Bella's claims are outlandishly hard to verify. But when Mattie's explanation has a lot of words and not a lot of evidence, it makes sense why people were just like, I mean, words can only go so far. And I'm also not gonna say that anything happened beyond what we have seen in the video. But even if it is just that video, like, it's not a good look.
Mattie would provide alcohol to these TikTok in the building.
You
were a grown adult who could provide alcohol. I can't.
So since I was 20 at the time, I could not buy alcohol for people who were underage because I couldn't even buy it for myself. Now, in my final regard to the Noor situation, I'm going to let Bella discredit and contradict one of their main claims all on their own.
Didn't you cheat on your ex-girlfriend? No!
Right.
Now, this might be just like a Michelle weird incorrect thought, but also, if it's cool, you were 20, that's cool. You obviously couldn't buy alcohol at the time, but also, like, isn't there a thing where if you witness a crime happening, there's still like some kind of crime? Am I making stuff up? You know, it's like, okay, you didn't buy the alcohol. However, you did stay around and you did still hang out with, allegedly, with people who were, 18.
I'm going to prove, back to back, that Bella is lying about Amara and my relationship.
Hey, that's a cool jacket. But why are you giving it to this girl that we met together just a few days after staying at my house?
The proof that they have is from a screenshot of me in a red hoodie from December of 2022 and a screenshot of Amara in her own red hoodie from March of 2023, which is over a month after Bella and I went complete no contact and when Amara was already 18. This was also not my hoodie. We both owned the same Brandy Melville hoodie. I also have no idea why Bella is lying that I met Amara when she was years old. This never happened. In fact, Bella admitted to lying in their YouTube video, but then went on.
I did originally say that we met Amara when she was and you're gonna have to forgive me for that because the math is wrong. She was I remember meeting her at this, like, it was like a Spotify podcaster event.
Bella and I went to a Spotify event together on July 27th, 2022. But do you know where Amara was during this time? In the Sequoias. These are pictures that Amara sent me herself from her camera roll. She was not at that Spotify event. Also, since this is a massive point of contention, Amara has publicly stated multiple times that her and I did not become friends or start dating until after she turned 18.
So now this is getting a little bit sus because I'll be honest, the majority of this scripting, I've been on Bella's side. But this is tricky because if Mattie's version of events is accurate, then Bella's claim would be completely off. And Bella isn't exactly someone who people can automatically trust at this point. We have been given the worst situation to sift through. Someone who already has a bad reputation. Someone who made an entire video where some stuff is very serious, where other stuff is like, girl, anyone could have messaged you that. These photos from Amara's camera roll, like, it doesn't really settle anything. Maybe correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, because to me, I'm feeling like that doesn't prove where anyone was. And Bella hasn't really shown anything that proves where she was in the first place either. So now we're looking at these two conflicting stories where there's not much proof either way. Someone was saying that Bella's entire 48-minute long video felt like someone who just wants to get revenge on their ex. And it's like, okay, let's entertain that theory. Also, though, I don't know that Bella would be willing to risk their career over just fabricating things. And then Mattie starts going through Bella's screenshot one by one and looking at them and being like, okay, so this one is just an anonymous message with no context. And their argument is pretty simple. They're like, okay, so you're gonna show a DM text from someone with no proof attached. That's not really solid evidence. And I do entertain that. I do think, though, that, like, okay, obviously that's not solid evidence, but also, maybe can we talk more about the stuff that was more solid? They keep coming back to the same thing over and over, basically saying they have never gone out with someone who was 18. And that this whole M thing is Bella pushing things that are exaggerated or not true. So this is more or less Mattie's response video. They admit the cheating happened. They admit that they had bad judgments when it came to Nora. But they maintain that the much more serious accusations from Bella are completely untrue. Which is also just like, this is so stupid, I shouldn't even say this on YouTube, but if they were true, why would you, like, admit to it? Because isn't that, like, you're looking at jail time? Also, not only that, like, your career online is very important. Like, listen, making videos with your significant other is, like, that's not a bad job. One thing that did get me in the entire video was that Mattie kept saying, I'm gonna take accountability, but never does that when it came to Nora. And that feels weird because it almost feels like implying that Nora helped spread lies about Mattie. Because if you look at the screenshots, Nora looks genuinely distressed about the situation and is siding with Bella. So saying that it's irresponsible to make those kind of videos isn't really apologizing to the person who was affected by it. Honestly, I feel like those videos are still messed up even if we were to ignore the age gap for a second. You've got a 20-year-old influencer who's hanging out with a year-old fan, allegedly having alcohol with them, filming together. You know, the dynamic is already, like, uncomfortable. And the thing is, like, I've heard the argument teens are gonna drink, you know, it's not good, but have you ever seen, like, a Netflix rom-com coming of age movie? But it's just like, would you want yourself associated, if you're a public figure or not, would you want to be the 20-year-old at a party with and if Nora felt pressured to go along with it or to drink because of the situation, that is really gross. I just feel like that would be weird even if Nora was an adult. Mattie has apparently gone offline and deleted their social media apps. And at first I was like, Mattie? That's a little bit suspicious. Weird timing. Why are you vanishing right now?
Hey everyone, I just wanted to come on here and do a little update because for the first time in 7 years, I deleted all of my social media.
This is feeling like, you know, that friend who leaves the group chat right after they start the drama? But then I thought about it, and honestly, it's like, okay, even if they were completely innocent, I would probably too uninstall every app on my phone if every time I opened it, there were thousands of people screaming at me in the comments. Let's go over a TikTok that was made by a third party because so far it has been very much Bella and Mattie going back and forth. This goes back to 2021 when Noor accused Nick Ray of SAing her when she was while she was intoxicated, and I believe Nick said that she was lying and doing it for attention. No side ever came out with public evidence, so it just kind of faded without any real resolution.
There's a very serious situation that I've been meaning to address, and I just needed to gather myself and all my stuff so that I could lay it out. This is about Mattie, and so I'm just going to kind of start from the top and give you guys my whole side of things. The text messages to OnlyJayus saying that I wanted to be involved was because I had to file a police report against Mattie's roommate Nick back in 2021, and Mattie was no help to that case at all. I had sent some text messages to Mattie back in February of 2023, just kind of making small talk, and I'll tell you why. This email was sent to me January 18th, 2023, and I cropped out the bottom because it contained the officer's contact information, but you can pause through this.
She said she had reached out to Bella because of the police report in 2021. This was Mattie's roommate, and she claims that Mattie was very unhelpful. Mattie thought they were in good terms because in 2023, they were just texting back and forth. How's the weather over there? I don't know. Noor included the LAPD email confirming that the report was filed. The report itself doesn't prove anything, but also nothing really happened beyond that stage.
With that being said, the assault case that I had filed against Maddie's roommate Nick back in 2021 was passed to a new detective, which means I had to give them a lot of new information. And the reason that I had sent those text messages is because I needed to see if that was still Maddie's phone number. Maddie wasn't the only person whose phone number I had to give over to the detective, so there was more phone numbers other than Maddie, but from what I know, there was no cooperation from anybody else involved, hence why the case is no longer active. I just want to say that I am not accusing Mattie Westbrouck of any type of crime or assault, but I do think it is very, very weird as a 20-year-old to be hanging out with 17-year-olds and
I really do have to agree with the point there that it is, I just think it's not like cancel worthy, but it's also just weird when you're 20 years old to be hanging out with 17-year-olds. And she does challenge Maddie's claim that they had nothing to do with the whole alcohol situation.
mind you, also providing alcohol and an apartment for said to drink in. Maddie also continued to stand behind their old roommate after multiple people had come out about them getting assaulted by him. So I just wanted to say that my experience with Maddie when I was years old was very inappropriate and very weird behavior coming from somebody who was 20 years old. And no matter what, 18 and 20 is not right, even if it is a 3-year age gap, even if the person is just about to turn 18, it doesn't matter.
Noor says that Maddie was around when M's were drinking and that their behavior did cross a line. She doesn't accuse Maddie of anything beyond that, but I think we can mutually agree that it is inappropriate.
That is still a and an adult, and the adult always knows better in those situations, so you cannot blame them. Just so you guys know as well, the age of consent in California is 18 years old, so a 17-year-old cannot consent to anything. The age to buy alcohol is 21. Maddie's old roommate was the one to buy the alcohol. With that being said, I am not a victim of a crime with Maddie, but definitely some very, very weird behavior. And that is all I'm going to say on this topic.
People were arguing that, if you're 20 dating someone who's teen, that doesn't necessarily make you a P, which I can agree with that. And I really don't want to be throwing any kind of accusations like that around. But it's also other people were like, well, no, it doesn't. But it's also just a little bit weird. What was it going on with James Charles? It's why is it so many oftentimes someone who happens to be younger than you? Noor basically says that she's not a victim and she's not going to accuse Maddie of any crimes. Some people were like, okay, no, this is good context. And others were dismissing it, which I am curious about. At some point, I have to believe that these people have some sort of proof that they're turning to, because just because you love this creator doesn't mean that they're innocent. At this point, there's clearly still a lot that we are still in the dark about. Bella has maintained that there are even more people coming forward as all of this is coming out. But it really does come down to conflicting stories and pieces of evidence that people online are still trying to interpret. And honestly, unless this does go to court, maybe off the record, I'm gonna be off the record when I say this, like we've seen with so many problematic creators. For example, James Charles, they just kind of go quiet for a bit, they deflect, and they do still have a successful career, whether we like it or not. Some people are on Maddie's side while other people believe Bella completely. But a lot of us are straight up in the middle, just trying to figure out what is happening. I'm definitely curious to hear your side. What do you think? Do you think that Maddie addressed these allegations well? Do you think that Bella's video handled it perfectly and that they had legit concerns? A lot of people took issue with how Bella presented this information. One of the biggest ones being okay, so you're gonna make extreme claims and some of it isn't really backed up by evidence. Another that it was very much a slow drip argument. I think maybe Bella could have benefited from really organizing concrete proof, allegedly, together, because now the audience has to sift through, okay, so these are from random accounts that could have been sent by Michelle Manna lying just because they want to be a part of the story. So if you enjoyed this into whatever this is, make sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. The algorithm it's a fragile creature and we gotta feed it. And comment below a fruit, because if you do, I will personally send you a fruit basket. An algorithmic fruit basket. And also, I'm so sorry, I'm not gonna be like Mr. Beast. Have a cookie. But yeah, that's everything for now. All right, love you guys. Peace out.